The world watched, holding its breath, as Iran launched a brazen and direct military assault against Israel, a move that shattered decades of established norms. Over 300 drones, a swarm of unmanned aircraft filling the skies, and a barrage of missiles fired directly from Iranian soil, marking a significant escalation in the region. For decades, both nations had carefully avoided open conflict, maintaining a delicate balance through indirect means. Preferring covert operations, proxy wars fought on distant battlefields, and shadowy intelligence operations. That era ended abruptly in a single dramatic night. The attack was a meticulously planned, multi-wave barrage designed for maximum impact, designed to overwhelm Israel's sophisticated air defenses, testing its limits and resilience, and send a clear, unmistakable message: Iran's patience had run out, and it was willing to take unprecedented action. While the majority of projectiles were successfully intercepted by Israel's defense systems, the psychological and strategic shockwaves reverberated throughout the region and beyond. The impact was immense. Tehran had crossed a significant red line, a point of no return in their relationship with Israel, demonstrating both the capability and the unwavering intent to strike Israel directly, challenging the existing power dynamics. This marks a profound and potentially irreversible shift. The shadow war, fought in the shadows for so long, is now an open and direct confrontation, out in the light, with the risk of further escalation higher than ever before, threatening to engulf the entire region. The world now faces a new and dangerous reality, a precarious situation demanding immediate attention. Uncertainty, heightened tensions across the globe, and the looming and very real threat of a wider, more devastating regional war. The critical question now: was this a carefully calculated one-off event, a singular act of retaliation, or is it the opening salvo, the start of something much bigger, a descent into a full-blown regional war? All eyes are now fixed on Israel's next move, as the world waits with bated breath. Iran's attack was triggered by an airstrike on its consulate in Damascus, killing top IRGC commanders. Israel was widely blamed, crossing a line by targeting diplomatic grounds and senior Iranian leadership. Tehran's regime, under pressure at home and abroad, saw inaction as weakness. Hardliners pushed for a direct response, using the Damascus strike as justification. Iran's retaliation was calculated, dramatic enough to restore deterrence, but telegraphed in advance to avoid uncontrollable escalation. The message was clear: future attacks on Iranian leaders would bring direct consequences for Israel. Iran gambled on resetting the rules of engagement. Israel's air defenses, a multi-layered shield designed to protect its citizens and infrastructure, backed by the US, UK, and Jordan, showcasing a united front against aerial threats, intercepted nearly all incoming threats, demonstrating the effectiveness of this collaborative defense network. A display of military coordination and technological edge, highlighting the sophistication of modern air defense strategies. The Iron Dome, a critical component, David's sling, designed for medium-range threats, and arrow systems worked in concert, providing comprehensive protection against a wide spectrum of projectiles. Allied jets patrolled the skies, intercepting threats before they reached Israeli airspace, adding another layer of security. This coalition response sent a powerful diplomatic signal, underscoring international support for Israel's security. Inside Israel, pressure mounted for a forceful counterstrike, reflecting the public's demand for a decisive response. The War Cabinet weighed deterrence against the risk of regional war, a delicate balance between asserting strength and preventing wider conflict. As the US urged restraint, emphasizing the need for de-escalation and diplomatic solutions, Israel's response limited targeted operations, carefully chosen to minimize collateral damage and avoid broader conflict. Enough to signal resolve, but calibrated to avoid all-out war, a strategy of measured response in a volatile region. Strategic ambiguity prevails, leaving adversaries guessing about Israel's next move. As Israel coordinates with allies and keeps its next move uncertain, maintaining a level of unpredictability in its strategic posture. The balance between retribution and escalation remains razor-thin, a precarious situation demanding careful navigation. The crisis escalated from the Damascus consulate strike to Iran's massive aerial assault. Iran's leaders vowed revenge, Israel braced for impact, and global powers scrambled to prevent disaster. On April 13th, Iran launched True Promise. Hundreds of drones and missiles targeted Israel. Nearly all were intercepted, but the precedent was set: direct state-on-state conflict. Israel's response, days later, was a limited strike near Isfahan, close to sensitive Iranian nuclear sites. Both sides demonstrated capability while avoiding catastrophic escalation. The result? A new, unstable equilibrium, direct confrontation, but with both sides wary of triggering all-out war. The region now stands on a knife's edge. The unprecedented Iran-Israel exchange sent shockwaves across the globe, a stark reminder of the simmering tensions in the Middle East. The world watched with bated breath as the situation unfolded. This dangerous escalation prompted urgent calls for restraint from international bodies and individual nations alike. The need for de-escalation was paramount. The U.S. swiftly condemned Iran's attack, reaffirming its commitment to regional security and stability. The U.S. reiterated its support for Israel while simultaneously working diligently to prevent a regional spiral into a full-blown conflict. Diplomatic efforts were ramped up to contain the situation. Arab states, especially Jordan and the Gulf monarchies, found themselves in a precarious position, quietly aligning with Israel, driven by a shared concern over Iran's destabilizing actions in the region. Their primary concern was preventing further regional chaos and maintaining their own stability. Russia and China issued statements calling for calm and de-escalation from all parties involved. However, they also blamed Western actions and policies for contributing to the current crisis, highlighting the deep global divisions on the matter. The lack of consensus and unified action at the UN further complicates the already delicate situation. This diplomatic gridlock severely complicates international efforts to effectively contain the escalating crisis. The greatest risk: another miscalculated strike or aggressive action could ignite a far more destructive and widespread war, threatening vital oil routes, disrupting global trade, and sending shockwaves through the global economy. The rhetoric from key political figures remains heated and inflammatory, further exacerbating tensions. As a result, the world economy hangs precariously in the balance, vulnerable to further shocks and instability. At this critical juncture, diplomacy represents the last and best hope to prevent a wider and more devastating conflagration.